Ahead on Q2, seeking the death penalty.
I do not take this decision lightly, and it is a decision I have made independently as county attorney, based solely on the available evidence and circumstances and nature of the crime.
Charges officially filed against the man accused of killing Charlie Kirk, plus paving a brighter future.
There's a lot of need for trades right now, and there will always be need for trades. That's not going anywhere.
The Career Center starts a new program as it aims to put students into the workforce. And a river runs through it. We remember famed actor Robert Redford and learn about his longtime connections to Montana. The MTN 430 News starts right now. Well, good afternoon, and thanks for joining us on this Tuesday. I'm Russ Riesinger. The man suspected in the assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk at an event in Utah has formally been charged on multiple counts. 22-year-old Tyler Robinson faces charges including aggravated murder, weapons and obstruction offenses, and others. Andres Gutierrez has the latest this evening as prosecutors say they will seek the death penalty.
Tyler Robinson, the suspect in last week's fatal shooting of conservative activist Charlie Kirk, made his first court appearance on camera from the county jail Tuesday.
I have reviewed your declaration of financial status and find that you are indigent. I'm provisionally appointing a Rule 8 qualified attorney to represent you on your case.
Earlier, the Utah County Attorney announced charges against Robinson, who has been held without bail since he was arrested after more than a 30-hour manhunt by local, state, and federal authorities.
I am filing a notice of intent to seek the death penalty. I do not take this decision lightly, and it is a decision I have made independently as county attorney, based solely on the available evidence and circumstances and nature of the crime.
Investigators are piecing together evidence, including a rifle found in a wooded area after last Wednesday's shooting at Utah Valley University in Orem.
DNA consistent with Robinson was found on the rifle's trigger. After shooting Mr. Kirk, Robinson hid the gun, discarded the clothing he wore when he fired the rifle, and told his roommate to delete incriminating text messages and not talk to police. Children were present at the time of the shooting.
As the investigation continues, a spokesperson for Discord and two law enforcement sources confirmed to CBS News an account appearing to belong to the suspect claimed responsibility for the shooting in a group chat. Andres Gutierrez, CBS News, St. George, Utah.
FBI Director Kash Patel took the hot seat this morning on Capitol Hill as some lawmakers question his leadership and recent firings of senior agency officials. In sworn testimony, Patel defended how he's running the nation's top federal law enforcement agency, but not all in Washington are on board with his leadership. Most recently, lawmakers expressed confusion over his communication during the initial hours of the Charlie Kirk assassination investigation. More so, ranking Democrat on the Judiciary Committee, Dick Durbin, pressed Patel on top FBI officials who said they were fired for political reasons and are now suing the administration.
Termination at the FBI was a decision that I made based on the evidence that I have as a director of the FBI, and it's my job, and I'm not going to shy away from it. And as you stated, those are allegations, and that is an ongoing litigation. So they'll have their day in court, so will we.
Despite the criticism, President Trump continued to express support for Patel today, calling his administration the best ever formed. Patel also touted his move to put more FBI agents in state field offices as the agency relocates some personnel outside of its Washington headquarters. Police still looking for a suspect after a shooting last night near downtown in Billings. Police say the incident broke out around 8:30 near the area of 3rd Avenue South and South 28th Street. Officers found one man with a gunshot wound, and he was taken by ambulance to the hospital. Police say they continue to follow several leads, but the shooter is not yet in custody. Anyone with information is asked to call the Billings Police Department. The Montana Department of Corrections has issued a request for information to identify a location for a new women's correctional facility. Yellowstone County Commissioner Mark Morse says this is the first official action he's seen from the state. Well, this request aims to find communities interested in hosting the facility. Moore says it will need at least 2 of the 3 commissioners in agreement to move forward with the state. During the 2025 legislative session, lawmakers passed House Bill 833, establishing the Future of Corrections Fund with $246 million to increase correctional capacity. Commissioners would need to respond to the state by October 1st. This issue isn't expected to get before the county until next Thursday. The Billings Career Center has received a new $10,000 grant. That grant from Valley Credit Union will go towards starting a new trades program. The heating, ventilation, and air conditioning class will aim to certify students in that trade before they even graduate from high school. Our Matt Carmack tells us how this new program is recruiting skilled labor technicians here in Billings.
While this may not look like your typical classroom, it's the perfect environment to learn construction and installation trades.
There's opportunities that are available for students in Billings that aren't available for students in other districts like Bozeman or Missoula.
This is one of the construction workshops at the Billings Career Center. Soon, HVAC systems will fill the space.
There's a lot of need for trades right now, and there will always be need for trades. That's not going anywhere.
That's because the Valley Credit Union Board decided to donate $10,000 to start an HVAC program at the Career Center, a skill that the CEO says is vital to teach the youth.
This really gives them hands-on experience to go out and get a job right away, a good earning job, a job that's in high demand.
It's going to help us get really good curriculum in here to prepare our students.
The course has already started, and it's being taught by Logan Liebeck, who also teaches plumbing, construction, and electrical work at the Career Center.
Every house has a furnace, and every house is full of plumbing, so the general knowledge will be helpful in day-to-day life, or potentially if their furnace goes out at home.
Besides HVAC installation being an important skill, Liebeck says this new program will recruit skilled laborers in Billings, something we're seeing a shortage of.
They will have an opportunity to get their hands on and see whether they enjoy doing that before they go and actually try to take on a job in the industry.
White heating and air conditioning in Billings has seen a slight decline in recruits since MSUB City College discontinued its HVAC program several years ago, according to owner Kurt White.
Through the years, we have needed more and more air conditioning technicians, whether they're installers or service technicians.
Because of that decline, Kurt is in support of the new HVAC program and insists it's important to introduce trades to the youth.
It gives them a chance to see this trade, and then they will see if it's something that they want to do for a living.
Work that opens up a slew of opportunities.
You're not only HVAC, you're an electrician, you're a plumber, you do all of those.
In Billings, Matt Carmack, MTN News.
This is over the last 3 days, and we took the highest report from many of the counties around us, all the way from Hardin County, Bighorn County, Montana. In some of the areas, especially from Billings, Yellowstone County, over an inch of precipitation towards the west. Check out 1.93 inches from one report for you in Sweetgrass County, Stillwater County, Musselshell County, over an inch and a half in one report in precipitation over the last 3 days. So with additional rainfall that could be as high as another half inch, we do have the possibility of some localized flooding from areas from Roundup, Billings towards the west. Forecast details only a few minutes away.
For the first time since the attempted firing of a Federal Reserve governor and the resignation of another member, the Federal Reserve began a 2-day meeting today to discuss interest rates. A rate cut is forecasted, unlike recent other meetings. So how big of one is expected, and how soon might you begin to see a change? Here's Joe St. George with more.
You soon could be getting a little relief when it comes to paying off your debt. That's because the Federal Reserve is forecasted to cut interest rates this week.
The 2-day interest rate meeting begins Tuesday, with the Fed's decision set to be announced Wednesday afternoon. Economists on Wall Street nearly universally agree that the Federal Reserve will cut rates, something that they have not done since December of last year. If that is indeed the case, it would likely satisfy President Trump, who has blasted Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell for not cutting rates at all since Trump has returned to the White House.
He's incompetent. The Fed chairman's incompetent.
The meeting comes at a pivotal time for the economy. Consumer sentiment is down. The cost of living in some sectors is up. Meanwhile, the job market for many has slowed. While interest rates are usually kept high to prevent or lower high inflation, economists are expecting a cut because inaction by the Fed, many believe, could do further harm to the economy. Chairman Powell's Wednesday press conference about the economy is expected to provide more clarity as to where the Federal Reserve believes our economy may be heading, with the possibility that Powell could indicate how many more cuts he could see on the horizon the rest of the year.
Now, late Monday, an appeals court did rule that Lisa Cook, who President Trump is attempting to fire over accusations of mortgage fraud, that court ruled that Cook can remain on the Federal Reserve during this week's meeting. It will also be the first Federal Reserve of a newly appointed member of the board by President Trump. Now, the forecast for the interest rate cut is only 25 basis points, 0.25%. That's not really much, so don't expect drastic changes when it comes to your bills or 30-year mortgage anytime soon. Joe St. George, Scripps News Group, Washington.
The entertainment world has lost a true icon today. Legendary actor, director, and activist Robert Redford died at his home in Utah at the age of 89. Redford became one of Hollywood's biggest stars in the 60s and 70s, tackling the Western and Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, Watergate and the Thriller, All the President's Men, and romances, including The Way We Were opposite Barbra Streisand. He received his only Oscar nomination for acting in 1973 for The Sting, playing a Depression-era con artist alongside Paul Newman. Redford also became a champion of independent film, ultimately establishing the Sundance Film Festival. Redford had a strong affinity for Montana and shot several movies in our own backyard. The most well-known, A River Runs Through It. That film, shot in 1991, opened the door for Montana's film industry, with several other major motion pictures following. Well, the movie was centered on the Blackfoot River in western Montana. Most of the film was actually shot on the Boulder, Yellowstone, and Gallatin rivers near Big Timber and Livingston. Redford returned to that same area a few years later to shoot The Horse Whisperer, which was nominated for a Golden Globe. During that film, he lived at a cabin where Patrick Devine's mother grew up. Devine spoke today on how that all came to be.
Well, in the meantime, they bought another cabin from White Sulphur Springs and transported it from White Sulphur Springs and added it to the cabin that my mother grew up in. And it was moved and placed right along the Boulder River. And that is the cabin where, in the story, the Horse Whisperer, Robert Redford himself, lived in that cabin.
A publicist for Redford says he died at his home in Sundance, the place he loved, surrounded by those he loved.